What's going on, Falcons fans? Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, breaking down the Ryan Nielsen hire a bit more, and this time not outside of a restaurant and not a little bit buzzed, but instead we're going to look at some potential free agent targets for the Falcons with Nielsen at DC, and really everything you need to know about the Falcons' new defensive coordinator, like how Jerry Gray might be joining the staff in Atlanta because Nielsen is already making some changes and bringing his guys in. But first things first, if you are excited about the Ryan Nielsen hire, if you like this Ryan Nielsen hire, then quite simply, like today's video. I would love to see this video get upwards of 300, 400 likes so that all Falcons fans can go, you know what? I think we're starting to head in the right direction on defense, which I haven't been able to say for almost a half decade at this point. Now, with Nielsen coming to ATL, he's already made some changes to the coaching staff, and we've had 3 coaches let go thus far. Defensive line coach, Emanuel, outside linebackers coach, Monachino, and then the secondary coach, Jon Hoke. So Nielsen is bringing his own guys in, his staff on the defensive side. But with that, let's learn more about Ryan Nielsen, because he wasn't a Brian Flores hire, right? He wasn't this well-known commodity on the defensive side of the football. He was a bit of an under-the-radar hire, which I understand may not be the most home run type of hire, but I don't think that's a bad thing. In fact, until Brian Flores kind of rose up the ranks, he was an under-the-radar type of guy. Now, his background looks like this. He was the defensive line coach for Ole Miss from 2005 to 2007. Then he was the NC State defensive line coach from 2012 to 2016. After that, he got a stint with the Saints as a defensive line coach for from 2017 to 2020. In 2021, he was garnishing some attention up the road in Baton Rouge. He declined the defensive coordinator position for Louisiana State, and last year he was the assistant head coach for the New Orleans Saints. So, Ryan Nielsen, he was named co-defensive coordinator by the Saints in 2022, and the Saints defense ranks 2nd against the pass and 5th in total sacks this year, which the total sacks is what really makes Falcons fans' eyes pop, because that has been something sorely missed the last couple of seasons. He also was just beloved by his own players. I mean, Cam Jordan, Falcons fans know him all too well, one of the better defensive ends in football, tweeting out, Ryan to DC job was inevitable. Top-tier defensive line coach in terms of developing pass rush and emphasizing technique on run and gap integrity. Wish him the semi-best as he is willing. Was he willing went to the Falcons, happy-ish for him. Okay, I'm not going to read that. But I loved what Cam Jordan did say about developing pass rush, because that's what the Falcons need. There has been no pass rush for the last 3 or 4 seasons, right? You got to go back to Vic Beasley for one of the better pass rushers in a single season here. So I love that Ryan Nielsen has a focus on the defensive line, because that has to be the focus for turning around this Falcons defense, especially at the pass rush, okay? Look at the recent sack numbers. In 2022, just 21 sacks. That was 31st in the NFL. They have either been last or second to last the last 2 seasons. And when they have been good the last 4 years, it hasn't been all that good. Tied for 24th in 2020 with 29 sacks. So getting a pass rush, they definitely need some more talent at that position, but they need a better coach to bring the best out of their guys, and Nielsen is the man for that job. Now, with that being said, scale for me on a 1 to 10 scale how excited you are about the revamped Falcons defense coming in. Are you buying in on Ryan Nielsen turning this boat around? Scale 1 to 10, 10 being you are through the roof, 1 being you're still upset that Brian Flores is not the DC in Atlanta. With that, we transition to this. Could Nielsen attract some free agents that he has a connection with? Handful of guys from New Orleans are going to be free agents this year, and maybe they want to follow their old coach to a division rival. So the notable Saints free agents this year are these guys. Defensive end Marcus Davenport, and we'll talk about him in just a second. Defensive tackle Shy Tuttle. Cornerback P.J. Williams, cornerback Bradley Roby, and defensive tackle David Onyemata. Now, I like the idea of Davenport because he's got that first-round lure, but my biggest issue with him is Availability. If you don't remember the Falcons playing him all that much, that's because he's been hurt every single season in the NFL. And that's a bummer, no doubt about it. But I don't know if I'm willing to jump into bed with the kind of money he might get in free agency only to have him miss a quarter of the season, his entire stint in Atlanta potentially. Shy Tuttle, I think, is an interesting name to watch for. He was a UDFA out of Tennessee, and he has really risen the ranks down in New Orleans, so that could be a fun target to pair with Grady Jarrett. Now, today's show was made possible by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. When you go to chatsports.com/betfalcons and you use promo code FALCONS125, they're going to give you a 125% deposit bonus. Now, sink your teeth into the Super Bowl odds. Right now, the Eagles are 2-point favorites, which just doesn't sound right to me. Right? We're talking Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts. And no disrespect to Jalen Hurts. He's had a great year, but who are you picking? I'm riding with Mahomes. Give me the Chiefs money line. Make your picks, ride with me or fade me at chatsports.com/betfalcons and use that promo code FALCONS125 to get a 125% deposit bonus. Saints defensive line now. Let's look at some stats here. Marcus Davenport, Shy Tuttle, and David Onyemata. So Davenport, 29 tackles and just half a sack. This is what I was talking about, right? That half a sack shouldn't be something that jumps off the page and you go, now that's a player that we need to absolutely sign. Now, Shy Tuttle, on the other hand, I think is a sneaky name to watch for. Same for Onyemata. Now, I say I take any of these three on the Falcons next year because I think they're all upgrades, right, from what the Falcons currently have at their defensive line, really outside of Grady Jarrett. Now, if Davenport's going to command a lot of money in free agency, which he might because he's had some good flashes and moments in his career, I respectively pass. I'd rather go Jarrett, Shy Tuttle if we had to pick one of those three, or Onyemata, and give me that 8th overall pick for Tyree Wilson or Brian Breesy or another defensive lineman in this draft. So that's the route I'd rather go. Now, we have been growing, I wouldn't say like crazy, but we're approaching that level. And if you want to hop on one of the fastest growing Falcons YouTube channels out there, click onto that subscribe button. Help us reach 9,500 subscribers. We did a beer bong when we hit 9K. And rumor on the Falcons YouTube streets is that producer Nick Rowley, who shakes his head right now, might even do a belly shot, is what he said to me one night. If we reach 10K, well, I don't know if we'll ever reach 10K, but if so, belly shots are on the way. Let's move on to some more Falcons news and rumors for you guys here. Mike Garofolo tweeted out that the Falcons are working on a deal with veteran defensive coach Jerry Gray to join new coordinator Ryan Nielsen, sources say. Gray, who has been with the Falcons the past 3 seasons as DB's coach/pass game coordinator, coached with Arthur Smith in Washington back in 2007 to 2008. I do love whenever you get coaching changes, you go, oh, how do we not see this coming? They overlapped for a season 2 decades ago. Duh. But I think Jerry Gray would be a very nice pickup for Ryan Nielsen and this team. He has done a tremendous job with the Green Bay Packers secondary, right? Jair Alexander is a top 5 corner in the NFL, maybe even top 3. And Eric Stokes is a really good player. Shout out to the UGA Bulldogs. So there are a lot of good pieces in Green Bay, thanks to Jerry Gray. Now, I do want to get some more intel on some background on Nielsen here and Gray. So here's what Matt Urban said from Falcons Wire. Gray, 60 years old, previously worked with head coach Arthur Smith in Washington from 2007 to 2008, and again with the Tennessee Titans. Gray spent 3 years as the Titans defensive coordinator 2011 to 13 before serving 6 years as the defensive backs coach for the Minnesota Vikings. Green Bay's defense allowed 197 passing yards per game in 2022. For comparison, Atlanta allowed 231.9 passing yards per contest this season. This is another good hire. This is about getting together a good staff. I know that fans love to just think it's all about the head coach. No, there are a lot of coaches in place that need to be there to be a successful team. It's not just on one individual. And the same goes for Ryan Nielsen. He needs a good supporting cast, and I think Jerry Gray could come in and really get the best out of A.J. Terrell after a bit of a down-ish sophomore season, get him back to being a top 10 corner, And if they bring in some other young cornerbacks through free agency or in the draft, coach those guys up as well. I expect a much improved Falcons defense in 2023. I know I'm just kind of drinking the Kool-Aid right now of Ryan Nielsen, and I'm a big fan of this hire, and I hope you are too. But with the way they have played the last couple of seasons, especially in the pass rush department, how can it not get better? It feels impossible to get any worse. Now, if you enjoyed today's show and you are looking for more Falcons content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll keep you guys informed and entertained on your ATL Dirty Birds all year long.